Hey everyone, welcome back to BioGlitch YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to get right into JavaScript and learn how to add some interactivity to our website. And at the end of this tutorial, we're going to have a more solid understanding of the JavaScript fundamentals or the JavaScript basics. You're going to be able to create some interactive websites. So let's get started. One thing to remember is this web page that we're creating is just to get some hands-on experience, learn some basics, learn some fundamentals, and that way you can always come back and reference this web page whenever you need to either copy and paste some code or refresh your memory, because we're not going to leave it at the basics. We're going to do some intermediate, some advanced, and then we're going to build projects later on down the line. So for now, we're just learning the fundamentals, we're just learning the basics. And if that's not enough, of course, you can always reference our book, Intro to JavaScript, that has even more tutorials and more experience, hands-on experience that you can use with JavaScript. So with that being said, what is JavaScript? Well, that's a powerful programming language that we use to add interactivity to web pages and add a little bit of life to our web pages. So one thing is to remember is HTML is what we use to define the structure of our web page, right? So when you look at this, this is the structure of our web page. This is the layout of our web page, right? So we're just telling the document, hey, this is the main section. Hey, this is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so on and so forth. CSS is what's going to control the appearance of our web page, right? So we're going to say, hey, I want my footer to have a dark background with white text. I want my flex box to have a blue background with white text, so on and so forth. And then, of course, JavaScript is what we use to make a dynamic and responsive web page. And this is very essential as you continue your journey as a web developer, designer, software engineer, software developer, and even if you're going into computer engineering roles, some roles definitely use JavaScript quite a bit. So with that being said, make sure your document is open, make sure you have your live server back running. I'm just going to refresh my page here just to make sure everything is flowing fluently and fine. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start off with a basic syntax of JavaScript. So what is the basic syntax of JavaScript? Well, JavaScript uses variables to store data. Just like any other programming language, we use a variable. We call that variable, we can present our data. What I'm going to do is have you right click inside of your browser and go to inspect. If you're using Chrome, right click and go to inspect, and then click console right over here. And then we're just going to leave this window open right here, and we're going to start working with some basic syntax, and we're just going to get our feet wet just to see a couple examples, right? So let's do a message, right? Let's output a message and we'll say hello world, right? So what we can say is we can say let message equal hello world. I'll do exclamation point, and then of course put my semicolon, and when I put save, you don't see anything. Well, that's because we're working in a console, so we're gonna have to do a console log or console.log, and we're just gonna say message, right? And then we put our semicolon. So what we're saying is in the console log or output message, right? And message is gonna say hello world. So when we push save, you'll see hello world has popped up, right? Or you can say const or constant, and it just do the exact same thing, right? So you can say const message hello world, and then we can tell it to log it, and then you'll get the same code. That's pretty much your basic syntax. So all we're doing is assigning a variable, or we're calling some type of identifier or class name or element, and we're assigning some type of data to it, right? So we can even do something simple as x equals 4 and y equals 10. And if I can type, and then what we can say is console log x plus 4. And sure enough, you know that this is going to be 14, or it should be 14. What did I do wrong here? Oh, x plus 4, I'm sorry. X plus y, sorry. And you'll get 14. And as you see, even if you were to replace it with a digit, it'll do X, which is 4, plus whatever that digit is, you get 9. So human error still came out all right. And that's our basic syntax there. So let's talk about the DOM really quick. And DOM is going to be our document object model. So JavaScript interacts with the DOM, and that represents the structure of a web page. So when we think about our DOM, this is our document, and the object model of the document is pretty much the layout of what our document is, right? So we use methods like what we did previously to add our event listener. If you remember in the first video, we made an alert that shows that our JavaScript works. So if we go push that button, click me, then we'll see, congratulations, your JavaScript works. We're working with the document object model there. We just didn't fully cover it then. So what we do is we use things like get element ID, or what we'll use in a moment, query selectors and things of that nature. So let's do a quick example on how we can change the text of our DOM using JavaScript. So what we're going to do is, you guessed it, go down here to our JavaScript section. And what we're going to do is add a section with the ID DOM. And then we're going to add a H2 or a heading, level 2 heading. We're going to say working with the DOM. And then we're going to do enter, and we're going to do we're going to write a paragraph that says the DOM, or document object model, allows JavaScript to interact with HTML elements. And what we're going to do is pretty much test that theory, right? So we're going to create an element, a level 4 header, and we're going to give it the ID of DOM test. I'm going to push enter, and I'm going to just put the word hi inside of there, right? So if we go down here in our section, we'll see the word hi. Well, let's run a quick DOM test with that basic DOM syntax just to see exactly how this is going to work. So we're going to go document, if you remember, and what we're going to do is get the element by ID. Our ID is DOM test. So let's do document get element by ID, and what we're going to do is DOM test. Now what we're looking to do is to change the inner text, or the inner HTML or inner text. We're going to do inner text, and what we're going to do is change it to by. Right, so we'll say by, and of course you end with your semicolon. And what we're going to do is push a quick save, and we're going to watch this change really quick to by. So what we did is we just manipulated the DOM, or manipulated our object model of DOM test. So we can change that to anything. We could say, instead of hi, we want to say hello, right? And that's all we're doing, is just manipulating that text. So what I'm going to do is just comment that out. And there's many other things that we can do. We can change the style. We can change the color that is, or we can change many other things. So I'm going to copy this. And what I'm going to do is paste it right below. And instead of inner text, I'm going to do style.color, and we're going to add a green color to our text. And as you see, we changed the color to green. We can do pink, and it'll change the color to pink, which is not a good thing considering we have a white background. And we can do red and many other things. So there's many ways that you can manipulate the DOM. You can even style with the background, and anything that you can do inside of CSS, you pretty much can do inside of JavaScript when you're manipulating the DOM. So that's something to remember, and something to keep inside of your mind as you move along with working with JavaScript, right? There's many things that you can do when you're manipulating the DOM. Now we're going to talk about event listeners, right? So we covered event listeners before, and that was when we add the event listener for click, and then we had a function afterwards. Well, what we're going to do is a nice, small and easy project, And that's going to allow us to change the background color of our web page while also changing our sections background here. So when we think about events, listeners, well, what is an event? It's an action that happens in the browser. So when we click a button, we hover over element, when we scroll, this is going to cause an event and allow our event listener to actually do something. So what it is JavaScript listens, or it looks for these events to happen, and then it handles them using the syntax that we provided in there. So like I said, we're going to have let's go back to our JavaScript. We're going to make a note. We're going to say dark mode toggle event, and we're just going to leave that note right there. And we're going to do a set of things, but first let's set up our HTML. So let's go right back here to where we had our DOM section. Inside of our DOM section, we're going to add another section, and we're going to call it events. All right, we're going to do another level 2 heading, and we're going to say event listeners. And we're just going to make a quick note right here what an event listener is, because we just covered it. And we're just going to say events are used to handle interactions in JavaScript. I'm going to do a quick save, and if you see, we have our section element inside of there, and it's still mobile friendly, right? So we know that our web page is working pretty well right now. Let's go ahead and finish setting up this event section here. So what we're going to add next is a level 3 header, and we're going to go give it the title of toggle event, because remember, we're going to toggle our background. So let's do that, and then we're going to add a button, and we're going to give it the ID of JS toggle button, and then inside of there I'm going to put toggle mode. Push save, and we see we have this toggle button that obviously works, but we don't have any code attached to it yet. So let's go ahead and get started with our styling of what we want our dark mode to represent or look like. Let's make a comment. We're going to say dark mode styles. We're going to do a quick save, and let's get started on some of this code here. And first, let's think about our background, right? I wanted the background to be a dark color, of course, and easy on the eyes, right? So we're going to do a background color of hashtag 121212. That simple. We do save. Obviously, we don't see it yet because we haven't initiated that dark mode DOM manipulation. We're going to change our color to I'm going to do something. I chose something different, and it's going to be E0. Well, if we do hashtag first, we'll do E0, E0, E0. I'm going to do save. And then pretty much what we're going to do is the same color all around, but we're going to change the background color for our header and footer. And then our sections are going to have a different color. So one thing you can do is, of course, we're going to do our dark mode for our header. And then you can do a comma, and we can do footer.dark mode, and we can style both of these at the same time with the same styling. So we're going to change our background color to hashtag 1E, 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 and then our color to the hashtag E0s. And then we're going to do section.dark mode, and we're going to change the background color to a 797979. That's going to be a little lighter gray, but not too light to where we won't be able to see our text. And then we're going to change our color to, of course, the E0s. So when we save that, we don't see anything has changed over here yet. Even if we go to click our toggle button here, nothing has changed, right? That's where our JavaScript is going to come in, and this is where we're going to get, once again, our feet wet to understand some of this DOM manipulation. So to start off, remember I told you we can have something set as a constant variable, right? So this means no matter what, it's constantly going to stay at this variable name here, right? So let's assign a constant variable name to an actual element. We're going to do constant, and we're going to say toggle dark mode button, and we're going to say it is equal to our JavaScript button, or toggle, JavaScript toggle button. So remember, we have JS toggle button. So how will we call that? Well, we're going to call it the same way we did up here, except we're going to add a toggle btn to it. So we'll say document dot get element by ID, and we're going to say JS toggle button, and that's it. So instead of having to type out document get element by ID each time, we just can go for the toggle button constant name there. So even if we go to click this, we see it still hasn't worked because we need to add the rest of our code. So what we're going to say is, for the toggle dark mode button, let's add an event listener. And of course, you've guessed it, we're going to add a clicked event, and we're going to attach a function to this event. And with our curly brackets, we're going to begin adding some code here. So what we want to do is we want to change our body's background, right? So we're going to say document body. So in the document, look for the body, anything with the element name body. And we're going to say in the class list, or in our CSS page, toggle dark mode. Okay, if I'm push the right button here, we'll say toggle dark mode. So what we did is we gave it the class name in our class list, right? We look for the class name dark mode, and that's what's right here, remember? So we're going to tell it to look for the body's dark mode. So we can hit save and we can test that out. You see the background changes automatically. So now if we do the same thing with our sections, what we'll do is document, and we'll say query selector all. So we're saying find all sections, right? So let's go ahead and add that. We'll say find all sections, or find, and pretty much we're going to say find all sections, and then we're going to say for each, right? For each section, and we're going to set this this value here that's going to say for each section, pretty much it's assigning this styling. So what we're saying for each section, assign this class manipulation here, and we're going to say toggle and dark mode, and then we're going to do a save. So remember, we're looking for the class list or the class styling name of section and dark mode here. So sorry for the stumbling on words. My daughter's upstairs talking and kind of threw me off a little bit. But if we go ahead and we do a quick toggle, then we'll see we've changed the background of our sections, right? So, and then you see inside of here, our text has also changed color as well to the white text right there, and that's because in our section dark mode we have the color changing to that white grayish color, right? And what we did, if we break this down, is we've created a function pretty much that is assigning this style to each selector of the sections inside of our document there. So we're going to do a couple more, and that's our header and our footer. So what we're going to say is document query selector, because we only have one header, right? We're going to say header, and we're going to say class list and toggle and dark mode. And then of course we're going to close that with a semicolon and leave that as is. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this, and I'm just going to change the word header to footer on the second one and do a quick save. And lastly, all we have to do is test out this toggle method. When we test it out, we see that it stays the same, and it looks pretty well, right? Because we don't want any error to happen where these headers and footers change a different background color, we pretty much want them to stay the same so they can be fluent with the rest of the website, right? Because there are times where your syntax can be messed up if you miss a semicolon or miss a parenthesis, and these might not have a color at all. They might turn pitch black white, whatever the case is. But most importantly, you see that our text color changes as well, and that allows a more fluent website for us. So just to break down everything that we've learned, you pretty much just learned everything about the DOM and event listeners, and pretty much some basics of JavaScript. And this is going to help advance your web development and web design capabilities. These fundamentals are going to be something that can stick with you throughout your entire journey, because something as simple as this and as easy as this, we can't easily forget them as we continue our journey into web development and software engineering and software development, so on and so forth. Anything that is your basic fundamentals in coding, it is easy to forget them. So that's it for our JavaScript basics tutorial. Once again, we covered the fundamentals of JavaScript, working with the DOM, handling events, looking at constants, learning about variables, and experimenting with these concepts are going to help make your pages more interactive as you dive deeper into web development. So if you found this video helpful at all, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment what you guys would like to see in the future, or if you would like me to help you with some code. And don't forget to subscribe and tune in for more tutorials. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.